What's up, guys? Welcome into it. As we're getting everything going here for the Wednesday, middle of the week, man. We're here. We're ready to go. Seeing you thought I'd say something different. Remember those chants? We're here. We're whatever. Yeah. Got a lot to talk about today. Coming up bottom of the hour, we have retired Commander Sergeant Major Bart Womack. That's a mouthful. We'll chat with him coming up here in a little bit. We're going to talk about domestic threats within the United States. Who are they? Are they the crazy radical MAGA community? Who is it? We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Plus, we have the response from Donald Trump after the indictments and the charges yesterday. A lot of things to talk about, man. Also, the future of media. Really curious to see your thoughts on that. How do we move forward with the news of the day?
1 minute till broadcast.
All right, hang tight.
Seconds till broadcast.
All right, guys, we got just a little bit of time left here. Live stream's coming up here momentarily. If you are on there, welcome in, like it out, share it out, leave that comment. We have retired Commander Sergeant Major Bart Womack coming on the show here, bottom of the hour. We'll talk about domestic threats in the country. Hang tight, radio program starting momentarily.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time. Even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome into the program. What's up? It's the middle of the week. Holy cow, man, this week's flowing right on by. We have a lot to get to today. It's going to be a big show, as usual. Before we go anywhere, though, I have to admit, I am so glad that I've cut back on my adult beverage consumptions. Because, man, telling you what, the way that some companies are going, I'm glad I just don't drink them anymore. Now, I will say, for those that don't know what we're talking about, there's been a very woke campaign ad that's been pushed by Anheuser-Busch, a.k.a. Bud Light, with the changing of some of their ads. And if you go to the liquor store, your adult beverage store, and try and buy some of the new cans, you'll see it in a little bit different flavor, so to speak. And I used to drink Bud Light, man. I used to drink a little bit of that in college. That was my college drink there, but I just can't do it anymore. I'm loving, though, the social media posts regarding Busch as they are supporting and doing a big push for the LGBTQ and putting rainbows on their cans. And look, if you want to support it, cool, all the power to you. I don't really care. Got nothing against it, whatever. But usually you don't want to marginalize yourself, especially that like a whole bunch of rednecks usually are the ones drinking Bud Light. Just be honest. It's the rule. College kids or backwoods hillbillies that just want some awesome cheap beer just to drink and have a good time, and it's not faring well for them. There was a post I saw online today that said in just 2 days by itself, Anheuser-Busch has done better job of getting people to quit drinking than AA has done in 88 years. Well done. Well done. Power up, my friends. And with that, we have to give our official tribute to Anheuser-Busch and the decisions they've made as well.
Real American heroes.
Today, we salute you, Mr. Budweiser head of marketing guy. Only you could take a beer and make it queer.
Oh, no.
20 years of amazing ad campaigns, and this is where we end up.
Not gonna buy it.
What the were you thinking?
There you go. Well done. Well done, Anheuser-Busch. If you go woke, you're going to go broke. That's all we have to say. Welcome into the program, man. We got a lot to talk about. Bottom of the hour. We have, and this is a mouthful to say here, retired Commander Sergeant Major Bart Womack. He'll be joining us on the program. He's got his latest book right now, Embedded Enemy, The Inside Threat. We'll talk about domestic terror threats here within the United States. Is it the crazy, wild, radical MAGA community? Is that it? Is that who we are? Are we just the crazy domestic terror threats? And what are the threats going on in the United States? We'll get to all that and more coming up on the program. So welcome in for the middle of the week. That's the way we start off a program, my friends, especially after a day we had yesterday. As you know, the big news story as we get into our What's Trending.
What's trending today?
What's trending today? Yesterday, after the indictment of former President Donald Trump and the stance he has taken of the not guilty pleas in any way, shape, or form, saying that there is no case whatsoever. His attorneys having a kind of a semi-press conference outside of the courtroom yesterday as well, saying that there was a nothing burger there with the 34 charges of bank fraud, all of them being relatively the same, none of them being worth a federal charge or a felony charge in any way, shape, or form. Donald Trump made his voice clear, very clear, at the end of last night when he got back into Florida. And again, listen up, Republicans. Perk up your ears, elected officials. This is how you get the media to pay attention to you. This is how you get your messaging out there, not by shying away from them, but by putting it in their face so drastically they have nothing else to do but cover it.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. From the beginning, the Democrats spied on my campaign. Remember that? They attacked me with an onslaught of fraudulent investigations. Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Impeachment hoax number 1. Impeachment hoax number 2. The illegal and unconstitutional raid on Mar-a-Lago, right here. They're lying to the FISA courts, the FBI and DOJ relentlessly pursuing Republicans. The unconstitutional changes to election laws by not getting approvals from state legislators. The millions of votes illegally stuffed into ballot boxes and all caught on government cameras. And just recently, the FBI and DOJ in collusion with Twitter and Facebook in order not to say anything bad about the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, which exposes the Biden family as criminals and which, according to the pollsters, would have made a 17-point difference in the election result. And we needed a lot less than that, like about 16.9.
Has anybody else, show of hands, has anybody else missed the speeches from Donald Trump? Sometimes you're just like, I don't know what quite he's trying to say, but it's kind of nice to just listen to him talk, and it's kind of funny at the same time. So well done, Donald Trump.
Winning.
Here's again the message that we get from this. That was at the very beginning of the speech. So if anybody half paid attention to the speech last night, you saw that right out of the get-go when Donald Trump stepped up on that stage at his insanely, really expensive-looking house in Mar-a-Lago. This is how you control. The media, all of the mainstream media, went to Donald Trump live last night thinking he was going to respond, whine about the indictment, whine about the charges, try and make his case for it. Every media outlet went to Donald Trump last night. What did he do? That. I did nothing wrong. Look at all the charges the Democrats have tried to accuse me of. Look at all the felony and criminal acts that the Democrats have done for years, and look at what the mainstream media is not paying attention to. I think I was watching, was it CNN, CNBC? I believe it was CNBC I was watching last night. When I saw that he was going to be speaking, we got on YouTube and we saw a live stream of whatever channel it was that they were feeding it, and they played about 3 to 5 minutes of that speech. And then they cut out and said, nope, we're done. And the hosts at the time, whoever it was, have no clue who it was, made the comment of, well, we thought he was going to be responding to the indictment charges, but obviously he's not. And they completely dropped it and moved on. They did not want him making a political campaign speech on their airwaves. They did not want him exposing all of the corruption from the Democrat side and all of the It's wild goose chases and rabbit holes they've gone down going after Donald Trump for all of these years that came out with a whole bunch of nothing burgers as they thought this was finally the one. This was the one that was going to get him. This was the one that was going to put him behind the bars. This was the one that was going to finally show that Donald Trump was a crazy crook and a crazy criminal, and we could expose it and just run it 24 hours on the news outlets, and it didn't work. And when he came out smiling, and he had a massive crowd, and he started talking about the corruption from the other side, and started talking about the nothing burger from this case, they cut out. Nope, done. All right, well, we didn't. It's not what we thought it was going to be. Sorry, guys. Let's go back to regular programming as normal. That's how you win. That's how you win. I just got off the air a little bit ago with Mark Walters with Armed American Radio talking about this particular issue, and he had made the comment how he's anxious, he's ready, he wants to see, Mark meaning, he wants to see the court cases being flown at Hunter Biden. He wants to see the smackdown from the other side. They're weak, they're scrambling. This is the time that we attack, and we file charges on them left and right for everything that they've done, and I completely agree. However, as I mentioned on his program as well, I also believe that we're going to do this tactfully, because we need to make sure that it hurts them, not just to file charges to make sure that we just file charges like the Democrats have done with Donald Trump when they don't have anything, but they just do it for the sake of doing it so they can run with it. When we do it, we're going to make sure it hurts. We're going to make sure that it's going to count. And when we file these charges, it is going to be the backlash to where they can ignore all they want to, but when their individuals are behind bars, that's when they cannot ignore the situation any longer. Donald Trump is seeing the opposite effect. He's seen a massive bump in fundraising. He's seen a massive bump in the polls. In fact, Yahoo News is even reporting today that the indictment polls show that Trump has surged to the largest lead he's had on Ron DeSantis since Ron DeSantis has been a potential candidate for the presidential race of 2024, where in previous Yahoo polls, Trump was at 47%, Ron DeSantis was at 39%, according to the latest from Yahoo News. However, the latest shows one of the first conducted after former President Donald Trump was indicted on Thursday, shows Trump surging to his largest ever lead over them with the primary challenger, as now the post-indictment poll shows that Trump was leading by a 26% margin, 57 to 31 in a one-on-one contest. The former president even attracts majority of supporters, 52%, when pitted against the wider 10-candidate field of declared potential GOP challengers, along with Ron DeSantis, that went from 28% support down to 21% support. Out of all the Republican candidates out there in the 10 potential person field, he gets 52%. That's up from the 44 that he had prior. His poll numbers have jumped. He's gotten well over $10 million in presidential campaigns, and you're telling me that continuously running this story is going to be harming Donald Trump. The Democrats have no clue what they're doing. The media is well over their heads, and like usual, they have no clue how to anticipate the response of the American voter, because all you're doing is angering them, meaning us, meaning the American people, and all you're doing is making yourself look foolish, because after you sink all this time and attention into it, and it comes back as, again, another nothing burger like it has so many times before, then you're going to look really, really dumb and really foolish at the end of the day. You're not going to admit it. You're not going to acknowledge it, but you do. It's kind of like the kid at the high school party that's the really nerdy kid that like shouldn't be at the party because they weren't invited, but they showed up and they're standing in the corner and they look really awkward, but you don't want to tell them that they look awkward because they don't think that they look awkward. And that's where we're at with the mainstream media right now.
That's why last week he delayed for a month and then immediately took that back and threw this ridiculous indictment together. Came out today, everybody said, this is not really an indictment, there's nothing here. My lawyers came to me and they said, there's nothing here. They're not even saying what you did. The criminal is the district attorney because he illegally leaked massive amounts of grand jury information for which he should be prosecuted, or at a minimum, he should resign. And Alvin Bragg's wife confirmed a report that claimed her husband has Trump nailed on felonies. She has since locked down her Twitter account.
Funny how that works. Donald Trump whether you like him or not, there's a lot of people within the Republican Party that don't like him, and that's completely fine. We're not trying to pick sides one way or the other. What we are just doing as the objective observer, however, is that Donald Trump is probably, being the business guy that he is one of the smartest guys on the campaign trail. You know what he just did last night? When all the media, all the mainstream national media tuned into him to see what he had to say on the issue after the indictment that they were giddy about, when they're like, well, there's actually not a whole lot here, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted to, and there was no violent outbreaks from the Republican Party and from the protesters. Nothing really happened here. Let's go to Donald Trump and see what he has to say, because we know he's going to be whining about it. You know what he just did? Like he did throughout the entire campaign in 2016? He got the media to focus attention on him, and he used the opportunity as a campaign ad. He used the opportunity to talk about what he's going through, what he's done, and what Joe Biden and the Democrats have been doing in a corrupt way. He was able to get the media to broadcast that before they finally started catching out. That point, that last clip that we played was about the last time where they started to fade out. Like, all right, I think that was the last part I heard before CNBC or whatever I was watching. It was like, all right, we're out. We can't do this anymore. This is not what we thought it was going to be. We're going to go ahead and cut out and move on. We're going to get our analysts to talk about how bad Donald Trump really is. Let's just move along, sir. These aren't the droids you're looking for. He nailed it. Well done. And it's going to be fun to watch moving forward. I guess he shows back up in court in December. Cool. And we'll see what happens then. But until then, I'll be curious to see how much the media continues to focus on this issue. Is now it's not as sexy as what they thought it was going to be. Just like Rachel Maddow holding Trump's tax documents in her hand that was like a page and a half, and she looked kind of foolish there too.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners, and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. 24 minutes past the hour. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the show. What's up? Love you on the show. Appreciate you to death. If I can get those two words out. I want to say so much about how much I gush over you. I just don't know how to put it out. Just put it that way. So we have Donald Trump taking a massive lead in the polls after the whole indictment. Donald Trump using the mainstream media for his own personal play toys, which the media cringes about, but yet they allow it to happen because they hate him so much. So they give him the attention, and then he gets more popularity. It's like the opposite effect. It's the yin and the yang. It's the opposite energies in the universe between Donald Trump. When he speaks, he gets more popular. When Hillary Clinton speaks, her popularity goes down. When Donald Trump goes away for a while, people kind of forget about him. And if you've noticed, when he announced, it's been kind of a weird campaign for him so far. He hasn't really wowed anybody. He hasn't been in the media. And that's why he's been pretty stagnant in the polls. People still remember him and hold on to him from when he was president, whether you loved him or hate him at that time. But he's been pretty stagnant in the polls. Ron DeSantis comes up. He's kind of the new sexy thing. He jumps into the polls again slightly and starts beating Trump in some polls. According to the Yahoo News, they've showed since December of last year, really, Ron DeSantis has been in the lead slightly, but it's been close neck and neck between the two as it's kind of gone back and forth. Because Donald Trump has not had his chance to ruffle the feathers and overturn the tables that really people like to enjoy from doing Donald Trump things. He hasn't been able to do that. He's gone to the rallies. He still gets good rallies. He still gets good poll numbers, but it wasn't the hoorah everybody talking about him. Now that this has happened, he's gone from the, what was it? He went from the 47% to 39 to 57-31 on a square up head-to-head between Trump and DeSantis. A massive jump in the polls. Why? Because Trump's now back in the media, and when he's in the media, people like what he's saying. And as people that are involved in politics, we have a short attention span, a short memory span. We are, that's why we like make fun of the Democrats and the donkeys, because they have kind of the memory of a goldfish. We're supposed to be the elephants that have a long-term memory, but we kind of forget some things at times. And now he's back out there, and aha! So here's the next question. How long can he hold that bump in the polls? And will he, I'm sure he's going to utilize that with the whole court case for as long as he can to continue to ride that, but that's going to get stale after a while. The only way he's going to maintain that is if they continue to attack him with something new and find more nothing burgers that's going to do well and bode well for Donald Trump in the campaign. But with the surge, if it does stay or maintain like this, here's the next philosophical question for you, and it's not going to happen. It's a theoretical, and that's all it is, because we know that that's not going to be the case. But let's say this 10-candidate field gets narrowed down to 2 candidates or even 1 candidate. What if Ron DeSantis says, you know what, with the rally that's going on, and even though Trump and I have our own issues, I support him wholeheartedly. He needs to be president again because he is overturning the tables with the establishment, and we need to rally behind him with a unified party. Now, again, that's completely irrational because we don't have a unified Republican Party. We never have had a unified Republican Party, which is pro and con all at the same time. It has its benefits because we're supposed to challenge each other. At the same time, it would be nice to hold our own bickering amongst ourselves within the Republican ranks and keep it outside, keep it within ourselves, not on the outside. But we show unification on the outside. It would be nice at times, but we don't. And that's honestly okay as well because we get to challenge each other. That's what we don't walk lockstep with each other and just get our marching orders. We have independent, wicked, wild thinking that some don't like. That's why Democrats struggle so much. They're impressed by us. They are jealous of us.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
We actually think for ourselves. We don't get our marching orders from the DNC or the mainstream media. We don't get our talking points from people that are quote-unquote experts on the Tweety with a 130-character tweet. No. We think for ourselves, my friend. And when that happens, we see where the popularity goes right now. And right now it's leaning towards Trump. If we had showed a unified party, imagine what that would do to the Democrats and the message it would send them as they tried to remove him. Man, that would not turn out well for them in any way, shape, or form. All right, when we come back right around the corner, we have retired Command Sergeant Major Bart Womack with his latest book, Embedded Enemy. We'll talk about domestic terrorism here in the United States for the middle of the week. Stay here on The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. The Hooser Media Network continues to grow every single day with new shows, new content, and new information as we continue to fight the narrative against the mainstream and give you the alternative view of the world. The Hooser Media Network is home to great TV, radio, and podcasting programs on any topic of any interest. From politics and current events to religion and spirituality, holistic and alternative health, entertainment, motivational speakers, and so much more. And with the Hooser Media Network, you can enjoy more content from the Voice of Reason like this. For those that don't know your story, Mia, talk about your story, your upbringing, and the fact that you are a first-generation American, which becoming a first-generation American and becoming a congresswoman, that's an amazing American story right there.
That's the American dream. My dad was chased by a Tonto Macoute, and those who really don't know what a Tonto Macoute is, they were armed individuals. I call them thugs that served at the pleasure of the president or dictator in Haiti. And that was the Duvaliers. And no law applied to them. They had free reign to do whatever they wanted to. They could go into your home, eat your food, rape your families, and there would be no justice. They would walk out and be completely fine. And so when you were chased by one of these individuals, you didn't want to get caught. So my father jumped into a sewage pipe, and he stayed there, closed his eyes, and stayed there until the next morning. And when he went home, his mom was shocked to see him because she thought he had died. If a 14-year-old didn't come home at that time in Haiti, the chances are they weren't coming home. Wow. They didn't come home at night. That's the time when my father said he remembers saying he's going to go to America, the land of the free that he had heard about, where you could work as hard to be anything you want to be. If he wanted to, whatever he wanted to do, he could do it, but only in America. And he decided at the age of 14, when he raised a family, he was going to raise it in America. And he had worked very long and hard. You know what my dad said to me? I think it's really important that people hear this. My dad said to me just not too long ago, just the other day, he's like, you know what's sad? He said, I love America more than a lot of Americans do. And I said, well, Dad, what would make you say something like that? And he said, because I know what it's like to live outside of this country. Yeah. I know what it's like to run away from people who are supposed to protect you, but can do whatever they want. And there's no justice. I know what it's like to live in a country where government is bigger than people.
It's a scary thought, but he's absolutely right. I see that all the time myself. I don't know whether we take it for granted. We don't understand the greatness that we have in this nation. We have people that burn the flag left and right, that try to cuss it, that try to stand up for communist China, or that stand up for Cuba, and some of the dictators that stand up for these socialist nations. I don't know why we do it, Mia, but the big question is he said, like he said, he came here for the American dream, to work as hard as you can, and the more work that you put into it, the better benefits that you get out of it. Do we still have that society today? Is that American dream still alive?
Oh, I think it's not as available, and it's not because we attack the very thing that helps give the American dream, freedom. You have to have freedom to have the American dream. You have to have the ability of people to risk everything, to open up a shop, to provide an asset, whether it's a service or product that other people want. Our entrepreneurs are being attacked. Success is being attacked. I mean, these are the people, these small businessmen and women are the ones that gave my dad 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. And they're being attacked. Our taxes pay for things that do not really benefit us as individuals. I always, as a mayor, as a city council member, and even as a member of Congress, those dollars are sacred. I saw them as sacred.
Listen to all these programs and so much more as we try to bring back knowledge, wisdom, and truth back into the world. And we do that right here with the Hooser Media Network, the future of media.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. We are moving through a midweek celebration pretty quickly. Holy cow. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to get to as usual. We'll continue to get back to Donald Trump here momentarily as he made his response yesterday using the mainstream media as he always loves to do, and it's entertaining to watch for sure. Welcome back into it. I want to shift gears a little bit, though. As you know, there's been a lot of talk about the security of the nation, and while I usually focus on economic sides of the security and the lack thereof that we have with our ongoing fiscal crises, the debt ceiling that we have, the expenditure of 100% of our GDP with the debt that we have in this nation because our government doesn't know how to stop spending because they're like a bunch of drunken sailors, as apparently I am as we try to talk here. We need to start getting that stuff under control. That, to me, is one of the biggest threats that we have in this nation. But there's also a lot more to it as well, which is what we're going to get into here as we get into our latest and what's trending.
What's trending today?
As I'm really excited and happy to have on the program here, and this is a mouthful, so I'm going to try and say it the best I can. Retired Command Sergeant Major Mr. Bart Womack. He is author of the book Embedded Enemy, The Inside Threat. Bart, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Andy. How about yourself?
I am living the dream. First, I appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you so much for your service and what you've done. As, man, you guys, it is wild to see. I love hearing all the stories. I love hearing everything that you guys have done, and it is truly a time, I think, now where we have more threats to the nation than ever before. Wouldn't you agree?
I would totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's sad. Talk about your book here, the enemies that we have. Obviously, we talk about China, we talk about Russia, we talk about Iran, we talk about all these outside forces, but there's been many quotes from many great philosophers across the time of history in the United States saying that if we're going to fall as a nation, it's going to be from within. It's not going to be from an outside force. Would you also agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that as well, Andy, and it is happening repetitively. Whether it's in our schools, whether it's in organizations, whether it's inside our military, like happened in this attack here, March 23rd, 2003. Obviously something that we were not expecting. We weren't expecting the brotherhood, the close-knit brotherhood to be attacked. But it was. And we don't go home with our fellow soldiers at night, so it just began to be one of those things that, again, was not expecting. And the trust level shifted, dramatically after that night. We deployed to Iraq. Deployed to Kuwait, and then on to Iraq to fight that war where we knew the enemy was going to be. And then just a few days prior to crossing that border, we were victims of an insider threat attack. Unbeknownst to us, of course, we thought it was insurgents that was doing the attack. Because who else would it be in a land over there like that, right?
Sure.
They knew we were coming. They knew where we were. So it had to be them. But after 3 incendiary grenades and 2 people shot, we learned that it was not the insurgents that we couldn't find that night, that it was an insider threat attack.
Mm-hmm. It's sad, and we're seeing more of those. Obviously, we had that one in 2003. We had the Fort Hood shooting in 2009 as well, down in Texas as well. Right. How are these things happening? How are we getting individuals inside of our ranks to sabotage us from within?
Well, society. The only people that we can choose from to come in the military is from society. So, some are just choosing to come in to cause disruption for their own modus operandi. Our background checks are as good as they are. But we're beginning to learn that those need to be even more stringent. We need to watch social media on people and watch everything we possibly can before we let them into the military because these things are increasing. When there's one and then there's another one, and a few have been thwarted since that time, but the attempt is not going away.
Yeah. Talk about the incident in 2003, because I don't think a whole lot of listeners may know that story. Obviously, Fort Hood in 2009 was a big story that was in the media for a while, but I don't remember seeing a whole lot of media. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention at that time, but I don't remember a whole lot of media coverage from the incident in 2003. For those that don't know, what happened?
Yes, and I'm glad you bring up the fact of not knowing. I appreciate that transparency, and I believe that the whole world as a whole did not know. So March 23rd, 2003 is when this happened, and right after it happened, everything went to internet blogs. Well, the next day, it was on CBS Sunday Morning show, and after that, everything went to internet blogs. So keep in mind that right after that, the ground war started, pretty much that same day of March 23rd. That's when the Jessica Lynch convoy was captured. All these things are happening with ground forces on the ground. Of course, there's several firefights going on all over the country, and the focus was on the war and not this. No one knew what to call it in terms of the military. They didn't know what to call it at that time, and full investigation needed to take place. But that became the reason to write the book. I learned when I came back that no one knew. And I thought that those that were killed and wounded and the sacrifices that they made for their country to be attacked from the inside and no one know anything about their story was wrong. So I just took it upon myself to write the book. Yeah. I self-published because I just wanted the story told so that, again, their sacrifices would not, go in vain, if you will.
Yeah. It is unfortunate. We're talking with Command Sergeant Major Bart Womack, author of the book Embedded Enemy, The Inside Threat. Here's the question and I remember having these conversations during the time that we were over in Iran and over in Iraq and over in Kuwait during the Bush administration and into the Obama administration. And you having been there, having this experience, maybe you have a better inside scoop on this answer. But the question that always came up is, how do we fight and how do we defeat an enemy that is a pure idealistic enemy? I mean, obviously, especially over in the Middle East, there are Muslims that are wonderful allies, that are wonderful individuals, and no one's trying to lump everybody into one category like the identity politics we see from the left side of the aisle, because that's not the case. But with this type of threat, and especially with them trying to infiltrate our own ranks and trying to sabotage, how do we fight something that's an idea that people have been brainwashed with?
A great point of the fact of this idea, and that is the thing, that this jihadi ideology is very strong. I think that anyone can be influenced at any time to do anything. Anyone can be radicalized to do anything if you get them to believe in it. You get them to believe about that ideology. How do we counter it? Man, that's for levels much higher than mine. I think we just have to know people. When they come into an organization like the military, it becomes a little difficult after that. Well, to get them in, the process of vetting them in the background checks is going to be as good as they are. Yeah. But do we become an organization that in a country if you will, that when everyone enters into any type of organization, just continue to watch them. And I don't know that we keep an eyeball on them in that manner, but I do think as a society, we just have to be aware of people in general. And I talk about this all the time because I speak on the subject of situational awareness security, something that was that I thought that I needed to do. You know, what was the lessons learned from this? Well, was that if this could happen inside the close-knit organization of the armed forces, it can happen in any campus, community, or organization at any time and anywhere. The insider threat is closer than you think.
Yeah.
So if we are aware, then we come a little bit closer to it. I don't think people aren't professionals that are shooting the schools, that are even doing this particular thing. But we just have to be a little bit more aware. You know, what are the signs? And look for signs. Usually that gut will tell you something, and we have to believe our gut when it is talking to us.
Sure. When you were talking to individuals over there and talking to civilians, and I'm sure you guys have, hearing the stories of working with a lot of civilians to pick out who the radicals are that were planning and plotting to attack you guys, did you get the same sense from them that, it's you could see people getting radicalized, or you could see members of the community being like, oh my gosh, these guys are nuts, and we need to get them the hell out of our community?
Well, if you're talking about in Iraq in general, I would say that answer is no. People were vetted when they did come to work on the installation, and they were vetted very well.
Sure.
And of course, they were watched, but there was no incidents there, not even close. At least that first year when I was in Iraq. So I can't speak to anything happening like that. I know that after I came back from Iraq, some of these attacks were happening, from the inside, from people that were serving in the Iraqi armed forces, and the same thing was happening in Afghanistan. But, I guess they had people offering them money, and we're going to kill your family. Well, not really offering money, a little bit of money to get them out of, some financial difficulty. But when the threat is, I'm going to kill your family if you don't do it,
yeah.
you can flip someone to do something at the drop of a dime.
That is very true, and that's a scary thought. We got to take a break in just about a minute here, but I got to ask your thoughts on here in the country. I know that we had, at least we used to, don't know if they still are, but we've had our eyes on numerous different terrorist sleeper cells here in the country. I come from Colorado originally, and I know that there was like 11 different sleeper cells of terrorist training camps in Colorado. Is that still the case? Is that something that we're concerned about?
I think it's always going to be something that we need to be concerned about. If you're hearing about them, you need to report them. Obviously, if you know that they're taking place, you need to report them. But it's always going to be happening. It's a matter of identifying them and watching them, eliminating them, and all those things. But it's just going to continue.
Yeah.
As the world evolves and all kinds of, so now we're helping Ukraine with that war. The world is always at war. So when you put your eye on something else, you got to watch your back door over here.
I like that, and I think
think about it. If you were a terrorist or anything like that, you'd be watching the landscape to do the same thing. It's just very strategic. While they're watching this over here and talking about that over there, guess what they're not talking about and watching anymore.
Amen to that. I love that. And that's where I want to continue when we come back from our break here, because that's a fascinating point. It is Command Sergeant Major Bart Womack, author of the book Embedded Enemy, The Inside Threat. When we come back, let's continue to focus on that point of being aware, because that's a lesson I don't think a lot have on their mind moving forward. We'll do that here on The Voice of Reason.
With Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends, or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hoosier Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hoosier Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hoosier Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, ourfreedombook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
John Ryder is welcome back into the program. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us today, as always, on a midweek celebration. By the way, programming note for you real fast. As you know, and I mentioned it last week, usually don't talk about a lot of personal stuff on the program. However, the passing of my grandfather happened last week, and been a little bit shaken up from that the last week or so, I guess. The funeral was today, so thoughts and prayers out to everybody in the great state of Ohio that went to that. Obviously, was not able to make that one. However, been in touch with a few family members, and it went well. So, but going into Easter weekend, I will be taking off tomorrow and Friday just for a couple of personal days just to recoup from everything, get ready to go for next weekend as well. So happy Easter to everyone. I will not be on the air live for the next 2 days as we'll be taking a few days off. And yeah, that's all we got to say about that. So happy Easter to everyone if we don't get a chance to say it beforehand. But it's going to be a great holiday, and the fact that now that is the sign, my friends, of the warmer weather and the springtime, and we can actually get out and start doing some outdoor projects, which I am definitely looking forward to doing as well. We got a few minutes left hanging out here right now with Command Sergeant Major Bart Womack. He's author of the book Embedded Enemy, The Threat Inside, as we talk about the terrorist threats around the world, the threats to the United States, and how they've been able to infiltrate into even our own ranks at times, which has been a scary thought. Now, Bart, I know that you're retired, so I got to pick your brain on this one, but some of the latest issues, obviously, with the pulling out of Iran just a year or so ago under the Biden administration, and how we left a lot of our allies there. We left a lot of our resources and equipment over there. I don't know if you're able to, or if you want to give your opinion on that, on whether that could have been handled better. But having been over to that region, your thoughts on what you think the response was from many of our allies that were there helping us out during those times.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak for them. That is a very touchy one, and a lot of people share their sentiments about that. Is there a better way? I guess in hindsight, there's always a better way, especially when there's lives involved and there's loss of life.
Yeah.
When that loss of life happens, it all can be questioned. Not sitting in those rooms of the plan and not being on the ground over there while it's happening. I don't know what the advice was, was it adhered to, and all those things. I really don't think I'm in a position to speak to that one. We all don't like, what the outcome ended up being, but we don't know necessarily. We know who the overall decision maker was, but what was the advice?
Right.
So that's a tough one.
That is a tough one, for sure. You had mentioned going into the break, and as we kind of wrap things up for the last couple of minutes here, I really want to hone in on that, is being prepared. And we talk a lot about Second Amendment issues on the show, concealed carry, being able to defend yourself, protect yourself, and always having that guard up when you're in public of something potentially happening. Obviously, that goes well above and beyond for individuals like yourself, men and women that are in uniform, that are always on guard, the nation as a whole having our guard up and being prepared, because there's always an enemy wanting to do some harm in some way, shape, or form. Do you think that message or that teaching or that mindset has kind of gone to the wayside, and we've kind of gotten a little comfortable and a little bit loosey-goosey on that's opening up opportunity for something else to happen again?
Yeah, you got some great questions. I don't know that the Second Amendment can fix these things that are happening. If a school shooting takes place, then where was those people who? I mean, everyone has the right. Don't get me wrong, but there's no one there preventing that. So that's the part I'm not necessarily in favor of. I think education will always be key. So you can call in those people that can help. So when I talked about me speaking on the subject of situational awareness security,
yeah.
A lot of organizations and schools are kind of scared of that.
Yeah. Now, as a nation,
I'm there to talk about it.
It's kind of a nation, though. I mean, as looking at threats of maybe Russia, or looking at Iran, or looking at terrorist threats around the nation, do you think that as a nation, maybe we've kind of forgotten those issues with our inner bickerings politically, to where we've kind of let our guard down on some issues?
No, I don't think so. I'm confident that our leadership that is in charge of the areas of intelligence and security and all those things are keeping an eye out. I don't see where we are playing catch up in some of those instances, if you will. I think they have their finger on the pulse. It's a matter of what they do with it when they know something that's going on. But I think that they're doing all the right things.
Good. That makes me feel better. I feel more confident, because we don't hear a lot about it in the mainstream media, and we don't hear about what's going on, because nowadays, at least in politics and the media, we don't hear about ongoing threats from the outside. We hear about all the evil Nazi Donald Trump supporters and stuff that's going on in the bickering among ourselves, and it's unfortunate. We're out of time, my friend. I hate to cut you out. We could talk forever. I love it. It's Command Sergeant Major Bart Womack, Embedded Enemy, the Inside Threat. Go check out the book. Bart, thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We got to do this again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolute pleasure, and happy Easter to you, my friend. Until then, everybody have a happy Easter. We're back at it here in a few days. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the voice of reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast, become your own voice of reason, and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
It's time for the Todd Starnes Show.
So according to NBC News, every black adult in San Francisco is going to get $5 million. Then they're going to eliminate all of the personal debt. So let's just say that, you've got $25,000 debt on your Discovery card.